The hosts of the Africa 2017 Business Forum at the Red Sea resort city of Sharm el Sheikh. African heads of states, entrepreneurs and experts from the continent are meeting to showcase business opportunities and economic development across Africa. Yasser Hakim brings us the latest leading up to the conference.
Organizers are finalizing preparations for the COMESA event in its second year in Egypt. The first day of the conference is dedicated to showcasing the success stories of Africa's entrepreneurs and how to improve the climate for the young, aspiring businessmen. The summit's main target is driving investments for inclusive growth. According to the UNCTAD, foreign direct investments into Africa stood at around $60 billion in 2016-2017. Only 5 countries account for 57% of the continent's total investment inflow, while intra-African trade remains very low at 15% of its total trade. Business and political leaders here will discuss how to improve regulations and easier market access to raise the investment and trade numbers. Also, one of the multiple plenary sessions will discuss the Chinese economic ventures in Africa. China is fast becoming one of the largest investors in the continent. Yasser Hakim for CGTN, Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt.
Well, now let's return to Egypt and the Africa 2017 Business Forum at the Red Sea resort city of Sharm el Sheikh. As we mentioned, African heads of states as well as entrepreneurs and experts from the continent are meeting to showcase business opportunities and economic development across Africa. Let's get to you more now on that forum. CGTN's Uche Okoronkwo joins us live from Sharm el Sheikh. Uche, just give us an idea of what's happening at the conference today. Any updates?
Lindy, thank you. And as you heard from Yasser earlier, the key focus of this conference, regional integration and job creation. Some of the hot topics we're going to see being discussed is improving intra-Africa investments and certainly cross-border collaboration on the continent. Now, back in 2015, we saw Egypt host that signing of a tripartite agreement between the 3 regional blocs on the continent. That's SADC, the EAC, and of course, ECOWAS. Now, this time around, they're doing it a little different. They're including the business leaders on the continent. We're seeing them, giving them the opportunity to participate in policy talks. Now, of course, youth are going to play a prominent role in the future of Africa. And today we saw them focusing on certainly youth entrepreneurship on the continent. Entrepreneurship, of course, is going to be one of the key topics at this year's conference. And let's talk a little bit more about that. We're joined now by the CEO and co-founder of VC4 Africa, Ben White. He's joining me right here on the set. And let's talk about what's happening with entrepreneurship in Africa. Why is it still so hard for local businessmen to access funding?
Look, I mean, I think the ecosystem is still nascent. Entrepreneurs and investors are still trying to figure out where the opportunities are, how to develop them into successful investment opportunities. But there's a lot of progress being made as well that I don't think people necessarily see or always recognize. Not only are the number of entrepreneurs and companies that they're building increasing over time, but we're also seeing the quality really improve. Really sophisticated founder teams coming together with very promising products, services, and solutions, bringing those into market where you're seeing more traction, you're seeing more commercialization, and the response to that is that the investment community starts to really understand, hey, there's something happening here, these markets are on the move, we need to be putting our money into these businesses if we want to be part of the future of the African success story. So it's happening, and certainly there's progress and a lot still to be done.
Well, let's talk about the extent to which that's happening. What is your take on the myth that there is no funding out there, especially for small and medium enterprises on the continent? Is this true?
Well, it takes time, right? It's as simple as that. I think it was about 2011, we had 4 or 5 hubs, innovation hubs on the continent. Now the World Bank estimates there's more than 200. 3 years ago, we couldn't talk about angel investing in this ecosystem. Now we have more than 60 angel investing networks that are coming up in different cities across the continent. Last year, we saw 104 transactions in 26 African markets. The opportunity is much bigger, There's much more potential to be investing into the ecosystem, but that's also why we're here at a conference like this, to showcase what kind of progress has already been made and really to extend an invitation to African leaders, but also to other players in other parts of the world to say, look, the opportunity is now, let's get busy and let's see where we can take this moving forward.
Well, many thanks for your insights there. Of course, that was Ben White, CEO of VC for Africa. And just before we leave, as he said, the focus of this conference, of course, entrepreneurship moving forward, and certainly the big role the youth are going to play in that. We're going to see President Sisi come today with Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, and discuss this further. Back to you in the studio, Lindy.
Well, thank you very much. Uche Okoronko live for us there in Sharm el Sheikh.